Call me Neoblade, and this is the Terran-Macro-Cycle. Blechfaust is a student of mine. I train with him, I teach him some things, and he asked me, how do very good Terrans keep up their production? How do very good Terrans add units to the army hotkey? And I will explain all of those things in this video. Let's get started. There's a noob way, and I strongly recommend from bronze to platinum to train the noob way first. That you set your rally points like innovation does in this game to here or to here, and then jump to this location using a camera key. First of all, if you don't know what cameras are, stop this video, Google it, search in my channel, and try to figure out what cameras or hotkey locations are. The next thing, which you should stop this video if you never heard of the mental checklist. You can Google this as well. Stop this video if you never heard of it and check it out. Read the Wikipedia page. Watch all of Day 9's videos about the mental checklist. It's very, very, very important for this video that you know what the mental checklist is, that you know what camera positions are. So back to topic. We will now walk through this video. I have to just pause sometimes. You see that innovation is harassing his opponent, and he knows, because of this force field and because he had seen this army, if you have to use scan to see where his army is, no problem. If you have to use both watchtowers, no problem. Keep in mind, I will show this quote in this video. Yuma, I think, I don't know how the name is spelled, please forgive me, said, "You always, as Terran, are not fighting with 100% of your army. Perhaps the Protoss has a weapon pile in here, and he can fight with 90% of his army or even 100% of his army. But your army, some percentage of your army is at home." So, first question, how do innovation get rid of this problem? Or he cannot attack with 100% of his army because this liberator is produced at home. It has to fly to the battle location. But you can see innovation rallies all of his units to the fight. And I will show a training scenario for that. But we'll just now watch the fight a little bit further. And while he watches his army, he checks his barracks. He checks his medivacs. He checks his SCVs, so he can build supply again. I will show it when we have the standard interface. You can check out if an SCV is building something or not. But this SCV count is here, and he wants to build depots with them. Our main macro cycle will depend on these 3 SCVs or 2 SCVs, whatever you choose. Please take a look at Terran Supply Trick. if you never heard of this thing, and we'll jump right into the game. And he constantly, we are on normal speed, and he constantly checks his production. And we wait now
That field's been mined out.
how long it will take for him to change his control group 1 for his army.
You're engaging the opponent. Time to raise your APM.
And there's the problem about this stuff. If you're doing your moving it to here, your opponent can counter your army. This won't happen in the lower leagues as much, so even if it happens in 2 out of 100 games, you can ignore about it. But good minimap vision will help innovation to move these things. We'll just take a look.
Combat is upon us.
So in the lower leagues, I strongly recommend getting those 2 watchtowers. Then he could see, okay, my army which is joining the fight will be intercepted. We'll just watch this control group again. And there it changed.
Liberation is at hand.
Just fast forward. I think he will lose the game here. And since he did not take a look at those fights, I think he used the all army hotkey, which he does in this instant as well. Please take a look at my video using the all army hotkey using F2 correctly. There's a wrong way to do it and there's a right way to do it. And we'll just watch now. So you will see short videos about Maru and perhaps Bomber and innovation as well. And we have now only 8 on the army hotkey. He is afraid that Phoenix will pick up Phoenixes, so he stays with, he puts some Marines here. But Classic will attack the front
Add-on's done.
and will
Took long.
now see all army hotkey. The army hotkey is 8. Escape. He checks the production. Even though he's attacked, he checks the production of the factory using hotkeys. His factory is on 4. Keep in mind he has his barracks on a single hotkey, his factory on a single hotkey, and his starport on a single hotkey. Very important to train the mental checklist this way, like innovation does it. But we will see a different method, so you can tap through all of. You have only one control group for all of those buildings. But I strongly recommend doing it like innovation does. And you will see he has both command centers on a different hotkey. Innovation uses standard or classic, I don't know anymore. But what I can show you, he lifts his buildings using L, like linguistic, and he uses hotkeys like 7 and 8. So he uses the complete range, and he has not rebind those keys, and he uses F1 to F4 for cameras, or F2 to F4.
Enough?
So now we see his army control group jumped from 8 to 19, and since these units here weren't on a hotkey, the only way he could do that was using the all army hotkey. This is it for the introduction. We will now see first you will see the advanced stuff, how you can do and train the advanced stuff, but I strongly recommend to see the complete video, because we will do the basic stuff in the end of the video. Why is it like that? You first have to know where your goal is, where you have to be somewhere if you want to play Terran in Diamond and Masters, and always keep track of your mechanics. Getting good mechanics, very important. And then we'll do the part for Bronze to Platinum, where we do the easy stuff. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this video, and please bear with me. This is the next part, and I apologize, I wanted to show this scene. This is Bomber using the mental checklist. I apologize for the bad quality, but you see his main army is on 1. I think he uses standard as well, as many pro gamers who played Brood War. They use F1 to F4 for camera positions, and as you can see he uses 8 control groups, and they really press 8. And he checks his starport. He micros his army, and in the battle he checks his starport to build Medivacs, because the Protoss has built Colossus, and we will see this now again. It will be very fast, and I will pause the production sometimes. He builds new buildings, and he checks his upgrades. So he checks his upgrades using the control group 8, I think, and then clicks in the wireframe. He checks his orbital commands to if he can throw mules or not, and now he makes a drop, and he will check his starport and his barracks again. There was his barracks just shortly, and there was his starport again. If you didn't see it, please rewind the video, and this is what you will learn, which will take a lot of training to be as good as Innovation and Bomber and so, but even if you only grasp the main concept and does not forget it in a big fight, then you're a big step further to getting to improve your mechanics. Thanks very much, and we'll see us in the next part. This is the next part, and before we will see Maru playing StarCraft 2 and checking his production using 2 SCVs to build depots. We will make a small exercise. You search your favorite map. I take one of the new ladder maps, like Ascension to Ayur. You search for Neo School. Use Neo School GameHard to create the game. Of course, we choose Terran. You will choose a very easy AI. Doesn't matter which race. Economic focus is very important. And we'll start the game. This is not for ladder. And this is not a real build you can use in the ladder. Because we will build depots all the time. I use grid, but it doesn't matter if you use the core, grid, standard, classic, doesn't matter. And we will wait for 200 minerals. Again, this is not a real exercise. And then we'll build depots. We wall in because we play against Dirk, but does not matter. And we'll check out if this idle worker is active. As long as it's not active, blinking, I'm sorry, not active, blinking, we can do whatever we want. I will just build one barracks, jump to this, and we'll immediately build additional depots. Watching this, and now it should not be active anymore. This is this guy. And if we have 400 minerals, we expand. It does not matter if you produce stuff from the barracks. You can, if it's too difficult for you. We will just wait till we can build again. And you just check your production. And if you think these guys are ready, you can build additional depots. Build a marine, build an SCV, and you try to stay below 300 minerals all the time. So we will now wait until we have 100 minerals again. It will just wait for 400 minerals.
Big job, huh? Gangway coming through.
So we can do the advanced version of this training. But if you go be above 300 minerals in this exercise, you have a problem. So the next exercise is scout the front, using only one marine if you wanted to. And I forgot about the camera locations.
Bad news? Yep.
And we'll build depots again.
Yes, sir.
So
This better be good.
check the production, and you can check
SCV ready.
your SCVs are building something, because this is white. I will take a look at my... yeah, you can see this. So you move your marine around, check your production,
SCV ready.
and if your idle workers are blinking, if you wanna
Big job, huh?
make it more difficult, you're not allowed to have a mineral block in your arms, or whatever this tool is called, the space construction vehicle.
SCV ready.
And we build depots again. Since we now have
What's going on?
additional money,
Ready.
we build additional barracks
SCV ready.
and use this to improve our stuff, to improve 3, to add to 3. So we'll take a look. They're ready again, and we build 2 depots again. And we'll jump to our marine and scout the front, and we stay below 300 minerals. Oh, there's stuff. I do not want to use that. Okay,
Gonna give me orders?
so
SCV ready. SCV ready. Go, go, go.
Again, if you want to make it more difficult, you only use 2 SCVs in the queue, and we build depots again. This was one too many depot.
Not enough minerals.
SCV ready. SCV ready.
And we'll scout the front, take a look at idle workers, and build marines. I have more than 300 minerals, so we can build depots again, and we can build barracks again.
Gotcha. SCV ready. SCV ready.
So we'll take a look at the idle workers, scout the front. Again, we got more than 300 minerals. This is very important, you check that, and we can build depots again.
I'm going.
Not enough minerals.
So these 2 SCVs will train our macro cycle. They will start our macro cycle. We'll check is building.
SCV ready.
2 in the queue, and we got more than 300 minerals again. Thank you very much, and we see us
Game paused.
in the next part. I forgot to tell you something in the last part, so we'll just do it now. You remember I played Ascension to Ayur, a new ladder map in 2017, and what's very important, because it's the main focus on building supply depots in this exercise, your time supply capped is below 10 seconds. If it's above 10 seconds, it's a fail. Remember, we built our first supply depot at 13 supply, not 14. If you build it at 14, you will be supply blocked with constant SCV production. More than 10 seconds. It's very, very important to stay below 10 seconds. How you do it, it's up to you. If you build 2 depots at a time or 1 depot, it's totally up to you. You have to stay below 250 average unspent resources. You remember I got above 400, even though I did not want to build a CC. You have to stay below 300 minerals all the time, otherwise it's a fail. And so you can take a look at the average unspent resources and know if you failed the exercise or not. And you try to create 50 workers as soon as possible. So this should be an exercise which takes 6 or 7 minutes in time, and you upload this exercise to GD Tracker or to Drop SC, and you should have an SQ above 100. Not above 90, which is my standard SQ for the staircase 1 and step 2. You should aim for SQ 100 or more and Grandmaster spending skill. But if you use Drop SC, you don't have Grandmaster spending skill, you have only the SQ. And you should aim for 100 SQ or more. So, very important, complete it with 50 workers in 6 minutes, if it's possible for you. Time supply kept below 10 seconds and average unspent resources below 250 and SQ above 100 or more. Thank you very much, and we'll see us in the next part. This is the part about Maru, and keep your focus on the wireframe, because you will see he selects an SCV to check his production of depots, or if this SCV builds stuff. So SCV is selected, wireframe SCV is selected. We'll take a look at it again. SCV is selected, production is checked, SCV selected, and he does it as well when he jumps to his Reaper and scouts the front with his Reaper. So we'll now jump to a more advanced mental checklist of Maru. He will attack the front and scout the front with a few Marines, and he will check his production and builds SCVs. You can see he uses standard hotkeys, building SCVs with the hotkey S. Production check. He checks how many energy has the sentry. Are there any upgrades on the sentry? And he checks his starport. And I think he will produce a unit. He checks his upgrades using hotkeys, and he checks his production. I think you grasp the concept and will advance to the next part about innovation, doing a drop and having perfect SCV production. We'll see us in the next part. This is the next part about innovation again. And when you see on the left hand side at the minimap, you will see innovation has 2 bases. His Protoss opponent has 2 bases as well. This was a time where Hellbat drop was popular. Now it's more common to drop Widow Mines, but whatever you like to drop on your opponent does not matter for the mental checklist. You just do a drop and you try to build SCVs like innovation does. And you will see this is very, very, very difficult, like innovation does it. But I strongly recommend you train it. Because if you're able to have a perfect SCV production, you will take a big, big, big step towards the Masters League. It sounds very little to have perfect SCV production, but we will see that innovation checks his SCV production very precisely, and will now move on. I will try to pause the video when he does it. And even though he has just now seen a threat to his medivac and he cannot commence with a drop, he checks his SCV production, and when his SCV is at 80 or 90%, he builds the next SCV. You will find this incredibly hard when you try to micro your units at the front. So if you're from bronze to silver, I suggest you use this innovation technique to build 3 SCVs at once. If your second SCV is about 50%, if your second SCV is about 50% at slot 2, second SCV slot 2 is about 50%, then you add the next SCV, if you're bronze to silver, using this exercise. Perhaps in real ladder games you want to use 4 SCVs in the queue, but it's strongly recommended that you enter the Gold League using only 3 SCVs. And if you're gold to platinum, you try it with only 2 SCVs. And when your second SCV is at about 90%, or slot 1 is about 20%, then you add the next SCV. Whatever you like there is okay for you. If you need at first 4 SCVs in the queue, then it's okay. If you need 3, but you have to try to get this to this stage where you build SCVs perfectly and where your mental checklist is perfect in this matter. Constant SCV production is one of the most important steps in the staircase. In mental checklist. So we'll just take a look at the complete. There he flies away, he checks his production, he checks his SCV production again, he checks his factory production, starts additional Hellbats, he checks his barracks production, he flies around, he takes the Reaper and moves it to the watchtower, he checks his production, and it's incredibly fast. But these are programmers, and they're trained. They have trained their eyes and their brain to get these vital informations. Is my macro still on top? Thanks very much, and we'll see us in the next part. Welcome to the next part. This is the first real-life training step. I scout with a Reaper and try to keep on point with my SCV and depot production.
Our SCVs are under attack.
I forgot about the mothership core who will attack me. It's the map Daybreak New MT, and you can find it in the arcade. I strongly recommend you use this map on hard. And I just saved all my SCVs, right-clicked them on a mineral patch, and put all SCVs from my main on control group 8. So I can, when the mothership core is dead, I can easily again resaturate my main base. Of course, it's better to build some marines and kill the mothership core immediately. So I rescout with my 2 Reapers, and I try to kill this mothership core. I don't have the minerals right now because I have only 1 base income. It would be better not to use this mineral patch, just put them here so it's oversaturated, but they will mine much more efficiently. Was a mistake by me. So yeah, now we'll take a look at the watchtowers, and we use the Terran supply trick. I use 5 for 2 SCVs, and I will try to build depots again. I scout around with my Reapers. It's just an exercise, and now you can see I will try to use the technique powered by innovation. I just put 4 and 6 because 5 are always my build SCVs to check the production, and now I check it. I tried to use 2 SCVs all the time, but I'm not good enough to do it like that. But I check my SCV production to give you a feeling and an impression of what you should do. So I scout with my Reapers. Okay, he builds Void Rays. I harass his workers a little bit, and I take a look at my production here. You can see it on the right hand side, which is normally the wireframe. I think I could change it like that. Then you can see stuff I built on the left hand side. Oh, I use grid, so it's strange that it shows normal hotkeys, standard hotkeys, so we'll just switch it back again. I jump up this cliff and check my production again. And the main purpose for this map is not to lose your Reapers, though it's not the best Reaper map in the world, and to scout for expansions and to kill expansions, because if you don't kill expansions, you will die on this map. So I think if he builds his 6 or 7 Nexus, you will die. And since you find the mental checklist incredibly hard to learn, I think you will die on this map. The next thing I wanna show you is the 2 techniques using your army hotkeys, enhancing your army hotkey. You see my army is on 1, like innovation, and I immediately when I fight I use my barrack stuff. I will show it again. I will set my rally points from my barracks to my fight, and resetting it is incredibly hard. If you want to see perfection on this, you take a look at Destiny going Mars Queens. He always does it, and he doesn't even think about it, because Queens cannot use waypoints, and you see I set the waypoint to the front. It's always better to put it behind your army, I think. Jules can comment on that. But Innovation did it where his tank was sieged.
Complete.
You can take a look at programmer replays as well. And so my Marines will immediately join the fight.
You want a piece of me, boy?
So there is this army, I retreat.
SCV ready. Who wants
I have too much minerals, I take my next expansion.
SCV ready. Armed and ready. SCV ready. Gangway.
The Phoenix does not matter, because I scout with Marines.
SCV ready.
And you see my army hotkey has changed.
SCV ready.
I
Command
built
center
2
upgrade.
depots again. I have oversupply, but I'm not good enough to
Research
check my
complete.
supply production perfectly. I think I will waste my army now. I build depots again using the Terran supply trick.
SCV ready.
I wanna
Add-on
Want a piece of me,
complete.
boy?
I want to take this watchtower, and I pulled this now on hold position because this probe always distracts me. And this is the next technique I use. I put a camera hotkey here to jump to my army, and I put a camera hotkey here to jump to my army. Depends on where I want to attack, and I use two-prong attacks using control group 0, which is on circumflex on my in my hotkey layout, and I use 0 to attack here and to make a two-prong attack here, so he cannot build bases. Because the opponent, the Protoss, has one major disadvantage: he will always attack with his complete army. But you will find this
Mineral field depleted.
Protoss AI, it's a Neo AI, very difficult to beat on hard.
Mineral field
You can try
depleted.
elite, but then you won't have fun at all. So I get a
Command
void ray
center
for free,
complete.
I get another void ray, my stim production was very late, and you see I reset my rally points. I jump to this location using
Mineral
hotkeys
field
or cameras. There is a camera location, and I try to kill as much probes as possible. And I see his army on the minimap, so I think I will attack his front again.
Research complete.
No, I build barracks, and I build additional depots, even though I have enough depots, but this is an exercise. I split some marines to kill probes, and I retreat again and try to scout the front again with the other set of marines. So I scout for his third base, but there is no third base in this location.
Add-on
I reset my rally points again. I built the next base, and I think
base
resetting
is under attack.
your rally points, scouting the front again, and denying expansions will be very difficult for you. And what should be your benchmark? You should have about 45 SCVs at 530. Choose CC first or Reaper expand. You should be able to do this. And you should have 60 SCVs at 615 and 70 SCVs about the 7-minute mark or 7:30. But these are the most important benchmarks to train your mental checklist and to take a look, is your mental checklist good enough? And do the scouting like I did in this video. Thanks very much, and we'll see us in the next part. Welcome to the next part. We have seen innovation, and this is only how to find and to set the map. You go to the arcade and you search for NeoMT Proberto Frost. You can type in NeoMT, you can type in Proberto, whatever you like, or multitask. And you choose Terran, of course, and you set the Terran AI to easy, so it does not attack you, and the Protoss AI to medium, but the Protoss AI is very important to stay on economic focus. And you use only 800 minerals, so you can, or should we take 600? Since we play one base, we take 600 or 800, whatever you like. Max energy we take 120, and Proberto lives we use 4, because it regains hit points. So 4, 120 and 600, and then you start the game, but we'll just jump right into a replay in the next part. See you! So this is NeoMT Proberto Frost, and welcome to the next part. We'll move fast forward to the first part. This is with 2 opponents, but the main goal is to kill this Protoss. If this is too easy for you, you just set the Protoss on elite or very hard. I took medium, but I think you will find 600 minerals and 140 energy very problematic in the first part, and Proberto kills 4 is the maximum. I died to 600 minerals because it was my first attempt, but I did not die afterwards when I was maxed and I killed the Protoss, but doesn't matter. And now I use 2 SCVs to build constantly 2 supply depots. My supply depot production is not the best. I check my upgrades using the 9, control group 9, and I've made a shortcut on my mouse for the control group 9, so I can just press a mouse button to check it. And the most important part in this exercise is that you check first your starport, then your factory, and then you do check your barracks. Why is that? First you build Banshees or Medivacs, then you build Widow Mines or Hellions, whatever you like, and then you can just press the Marine hotkey and you reduce your money to 0, like this. We'll see this a lot of times. There's an attack by the opponent. I enhanced the AI and I tried to harass the AI with Banshees, but this did not work. Though I think his unit count will vanish a little. Yeah, I did those on hold position. Let's just see. Yeah, but since they are not cloaked, I forgot to cloak them, they die easily. But I think you should grasp the concept, and we'll check the mental checklist again. I'm at 200 supply, and I lost a probe there. I take a look at my SCV count. Yeah, my SCV count is 70. That's okay.
Our allies' base is under attack.
And I check my what it is called upgrades. I expand. I check the starport, and I reduce my money to 0 using Marines.
Research is
I should
done.
have first checked the factory again. There's the check of the factory, and I produce
Our command
stuff.
center's been upgraded.
Ready for dust
I
off.
built turrets,
Who wants
and I
some?
should check the factory and reduce my money to 0.
Add-ons good to go. You want
So let's see this cycle again. I think that's fine.
Our allies are being attacked.
Starport. Forgot the factory, but reduced my money to 0.
research complete.
This is a tip by Pick to check Starport factory racks in this manner.
Our command center's been
Because if you have enough racks, you can just press down the marine button and it will build only 2 or 3 at a time. And you see it's not even built
Add-on complete.
2 at a time because my money is not high enough. Starport factory barracks. Starport factory barracks. While I have to move a prop around and make this attack here with using stim.
Coming through.
So I think you grasp the concept. We'll fast forward it again here.
Mid-
Attack, attack, attack.
Engine screaming.
Check
Upgrade complete.
the OCs for mule energy. Check the upgrades. Starport.
Coming through.
Starport. I forgot
mineral
about factory
cluster's
and
mine
stuff. Starport factory
Ready for
barracks.
dust off.
You want a piece
Build
of
additional
boy?
barracks because we have the money for it.
Coming through.
My saturation was very bad in this game.
Armed and ready.
Starport, next starport,
Depleted that
factory.
mineral cluster.
and reduce money to 0
Ready for
building
dust off.
marines. And benchmark in this exercise is 70 SCVs at 8 minutes. If you get it at 730, it's totally fine too. And the next one is your 3-3 starts before 11:30. So I failed this because I built the E-base too late, but your 3-3 starts before 11:30. So thank you very much for listening, and please do not cheat with keep your money low below 600, very important, or even 800, but do not go above 800. You should aim for 600 and below, and your TSC should be low 40 seconds or 30 seconds. I failed this objective too. So thanks very much, and we'll see us in the next part. This is the last part, and we'll train your multitasking using Darkline's multitasking trainer. Even though it's for Wings of Liberty, does not matter, because building depots and production from barracks is the most important part about it. But we'll train drops and minimap vision with this multitasking trainer. And I did a replay, so we can fast forward to the changes. At first, I strongly recommend you only use the first 3 and try this map about 5 or 10 times with these 3, but then you wanna check High Templars,
Press the ready button when you wish
and
to
you
begin.
wanna check
Finished.
Press the ready
drops.
button when you wish to begin.
I forgot about the Xelnaga control. You can deactivate it as well. And now I set all my production facilities and my control groups. I put the ghosts on a separate hotkey to train my multitasking. This is normally my dropship for Terran-0,
This better be good.
and you have to kill this High Templar all the time, and you watch the minimap. You watch the minimap for the yellow point, and you watch the minimap for High Templars. There's the first drop I have to do,
SCV ready.
and you aim for very good High Templar killing,
Go time.
and you aim for very good supply depot production. And you will see I always have idle workers, which is of course this stuff here. So if you want to make this exercise a little bit more difficult, you put all of your SCVs here on patrol. So your idle worker button is 0 all the time. So you can use the Terran supply trick to build depots all the time.
Gangway, coming through.
So I use stim there now. I use steal hotkey to create. Please take a look in the description below if you don't know about add and steal hotkey functions. Jack Attack did a very good video on that, so I do not have to do it again. I just stole the medivac and 4 marines to make drops. You can use more marines if you want. So I jump to the drop using 8.
Armed and ready.
I move my army, I check the production. There's a trick you will see in the day 9 video, mental checklist exercises, but I will explain it again. I will pause. If you want to check your production of a marauder, because this is a reactor barracks and this is a tech lab barracks, you can just click on the hotkey 3 and then click on the wireframe to check your production of your marauders. This is a trick even high-level players use to check single units. It's not so important, I think, with marauders, but it's very important if you build tanks or Tors or Liberators, stuff like that, that you check the production. If you're in Diamond and Masters, if you check your production, you only add the next Liberator if the first Liberator is at 90%. And therefore, if you have 2 starports, one is for Medivac production and one is for Banshee production, for example, you can check the Banshee starport using the wireframe like this. Of course, you should select 3 not with the mouse like this, but in a replay I cannot do that.
Who wants some?
And I check my upgrades.
Go, go, go! Let's have a blast!
So I will now prepare the next drop. And there's the High Templars again. I check my production. I use scan. You can train this map with invisible units as well, so you can use your scan. And I fly my medivac to the next drop location. I check the depots. I use stim. I build the next depots.
Upgrade complete.
I check the minimap. I load my drop. There was a mistake with the High Templar. Again, there's the next drop location. I build the next depots. I control my barracks production. And now it is finished. You can choose to play it a little bit less than 300 seconds, 5 minutes. I think it's Wings of Liberty time, not real time. And what you should aim for is above 80% with your army movement, because jumping to your control group is very uncommon for a real game in the lower leagues, but you should really train it to jump to your army and move it around. You should have a better production than this. You should aim for 60% production. This is the most important part, but it's very difficult to do, because if you use the Q extensively, you will drop points, but if you produce nothing at all, the production will be very bad. The depot is unacceptable. you should aim for 60 or 70% in this depot production. Again, I forgot about the Xelnaga towers. And your High Templar should be above 90%. The most important part are the High Templars, 90%, army movement above 80%, and production at least 60%, if not 70%. And you should train this once a day or or 4 times a week, so your mental checklist and your multitasking becomes better. Thanks very much, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. See you, and please subscribe to my channel.